Hello, everybody. Welcome to Political Football. My name is Dave. I'm here with Scott, and this week we are going to attempt to do a draft on Underdog. Now, I am tech lording as we get set up here. So hopefully, I'll be able to pull this all together. In the meantime, Scott, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Busy?
I'm about to become a Luddite and go join the Amish or something. I think because this pick monitor is going to be fits, but other than that, I'm good.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad.
20
Um,
seconds a pick. Is that what it is?
yeah, we're gonna do 20 seconds of
Oh,
picks. Remember last year we did it on 30 seconds in like some people were timing out. It took forever, so it was just horrible.
yeah.
Let me yeah, we'll get this working here. So Scott, the big news today was that for a little bit looks like they were gonna ban the tush push until 10 real football teams stepped up, voted against the rule change and kept the tush push legal. What were your thoughts on what happened here?
Um, I don't really it doesn't matter to me. It's a play. It's reasonable. I do think I did not like the idea of banning, like running back gets 5 yards upfield and they can't get him to the ground and then everybody pushes him from behind. I don't like the idea of eliminating that play,
Mm-hmm.
but I also understand why people would want to. Um, I think they could have made it a little simpler and just banned the actual play itself, not all that other stuff. In terms of just you can't push your teammate up the field from behind the line of scrimmage, right? I think that does a better job of eliminating the actual play that people seem to have issues with than eliminating a bunch of plays that don't seem to be a problem. What'd you think?
Yeah, I hated it from the very beginning. I thought the whole thing was horrible. I feel that the Eagles have found a perfectly legal play based on the skill of their team and their coaching that gives them an advantage. And if we're going to ban the tush push, we should ban Lamar Jackson from scrambling. Mahomes from the ball more than 10 yards downfield, and Miles Garrett's got to count 5 Mississippis before he can rush the quarterback.
Five Mississippis. Um, it's funny because in high school you can't pull, like, an offensive lineman can't pull a quarterback, right? So that's how they kind of eliminate that stuff. And there have been times in the past where teams that a team I coached for got just killed by that rule, right? And it just seems like you're going to call that now. We've done that 15 times this game already. But I mean, I understand the desire to remove that play from the game, but to me, it just seems like that's big boy football. And if you want to stop it, stop it. If you can't, so be it. So I didn't care either way. I'm surprised it got as much traction as it did, though.
Well, I'm actually not surprised they got a ton of traction because I really do think it comes down to like the competition and how you feel about competition. I mean, it to me, I think banning it would be really, really bad.
Yeah,
So
I guess I don't know the particulars around why it would need to be banned. I mean, what are they doing that's illegal?
winning, being
Yeah,
better than the other team,
yeah. I
you
mean, part of
know,
it is having Jalen Hurts running that kind of a play, and he's really effective at it,
right?
strong, all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the idea. I guess that's where I came down on it was I didn't like the idea of eliminating the other stuff. I really didn't care about that play. But if I was an Eagles fan, I would care. I would care. You
Of
know,
course,
It'd
of
be like
course you
saying,
would.
like you said earlier, it's like, hey, Jameer Gibbs, you're not allowed to run. You're not allowed to run off tackle. You're too
Right.
fast. You know.
Sorry, CD Lamb, you have to walk your routes now.
Yeah, yeah. Stop them. I think that's
Oh,
kind of what Dan Campbell said too. Is like, just stop them. I
yeah.
don't know how you do that though, but um, yeah,
Okay.
I was more
So
interested in the playoff seating rule that the Lions had put forward. I think
is
that
that
might have
is that reseeding after each round?
it eliminated the divisions from it just seeded them 1 through 7. So, you know, yeah, I think all the division winners would have qualified for the playoffs. But if you're a division winner and you're a 9-8 team winning a division, you're not going to get a top 4 seed anymore.
See, I don't like that change because it's impossible to play a balanced schedule in the NFL.
That is probably why it got shot down as quickly as it did.
Yes. If you
The
could
Lions
play a
went
balanced
through
schedule. Yeah, if you could play a balanced schedule. Okay, we are on the clock. We are at 1:05. We're going to take either CeeDee Lamb or Jahmyr Gibbs. You can pick.
Take Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb it is. So you can see the first 5 picks here. We go Bijan, Chase, then Saquon, then Jefferson, then Lamb. We touched on a couple weeks ago briefly that Saquon having an ADP at 102. I have 0%, and I think I'm going to continue to have 0%. I just can't I can't really see myself having a lot of Saquon Barkley if he's going to cost that much. I did auto pick him recently, which was a bit of a bummer, but
things happen.
So
are we looking to target wide receivers as much as we have in the past? Because you just can't get behind there.
Yes. So generally speaking, you want to take 4 wide receivers through 7 rounds minimum. Now, there is some pushback on that because last year the actual optimal lineup had 0 wide receivers through 7 rounds, but that is because the elite quarterbacks and running backs all stayed so healthy. That is generally not the case.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to hold really. So we do want to have a lot of wide receivers. However, I don't mind taking a couple running backs earlier than I used to because they're priced more appropriately. Like Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, all 2nd-round picks now. 3 years ago, they would have been 1st-round picks.
Yeah.
Right. But now Brian Thomas Jr., Nico Collins are in the 1st round instead. It helps the screen. Can you see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Do you need me to change it all?
No, I think you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, this moves a lot faster with the 20-second clock. So here we've got the board.
How many starters?
It's going to be 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, flex. That's a lie. I lied.
2 running backs.
2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, and a flex.
Okay. So there's nothing goofy around any of this. No super flex, no
super flex, no $5 buy-in, first 14 weeks in your pod, and then you got 3 playoff weeks. We are back on the clock. Achane, McBride, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, Jacobs. Who do you want?
You want to shoot for the moon?
You have hurry up. 5 seconds.
Achane. You don't like that pick?
I would have taken McBride there because I think that Bowers and McBride can really separate themselves. However, I have no problem with Achane as a play. I am a little worried the Dolphins are just going to be horrible this year, but that means I won't take 20% of him. That doesn't mean I'm going to have none of him. So I
get it. He just the upside.
Yeah, and if they're bad, they have to pass more. He plays well in the passing game. That can be okay. So let me see here. Let me see if I can.
Is he still available?
Who, Achane?
No, McBride.
Oh, no. Yes, he is, but he'll be gone by our next pick. His ADP is 22. We pick at 29, and there are 3 red badges before we pick, so there's no way he's making it back to us. I think next pick we'll be looking at either Marvin Harrison or Garrett Wilson or Tyreek, since we have Achane. We've already sort of made a bet on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
That's where I think we'll be looking with our next pick here. But yeah, so Bijan at the 101, which I think is fine. Then Chase, Saquon, Jefferson. We take CD. But you can see in the 1st round, 8 wide receivers, 4 running backs. So I think Bowers should be up there.
Yeah.
But the market doesn't know that quite yet. So here in the 1 hole, Dunmere John has Bijan Robinson, Bucky Irving, and Trey McBride. It's going to be real hard for him to catch up at wide receiver. We are back on the clock. McLaurin, Adams, or Tyreek?
Do you really want to do the Tyreek double dip with?
No, we're taking McLaurin, and I'll explain why in a second. You may not be able to see it on my screen, but Commanders, Cowboys at Commies, week 17.
Okay, so we're doing the CeeDee Lamb McLaurin combo. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also allows us both Dak and Jaden Daniels if we want to go
Sure.
to go that route. So that's the reason why we did that there. I think taking Tyreek would have been perfectly fine as well. Or Devontae Adams. I think anyone would have been fine as picks, but McLaurin makes the most sense for this team, how it's constructed. As you look at the board here, any names jump out to you as being like in a weird spot? Chase Brown at 26, Rashee Rice at 23. Anything weird?
Not really. I mean, Chase Brown, it's not like they added anything in the draft.
Exactly.
They didn't really, they're not challenging him for his work. So I think
Taj Brooks is not going to take his job.
No, he's not. And Brown's he's a pretty explosive player. It just seems like they're pretty comfortable with him.
Yeah, and he's on a really good offense on a team with a really bad defense.
Yeah.
And of course, he's going to line up with T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. So he's always going to stay on that side of the board. And he's not going to be a 4th round pick. So he's never going to be an end of the 3rd because the Chase team will take him to put them together.
Yeah.
So either he's to fall all the way to the 4th or he's going to be in the high 3rd. So if you think he should be a late 3rd, Paul making fun of me. I did this to another streamer, Davis Maddock. I turned on his stream. He was like around 12 and his team was terrible. But Davis, he knew it. He admitted it as soon as I said it. He was like, yeah, no, this team is not very good. So I didn't feel too bad about it. Okay, we're about to be up on the clock again.
Well, Travis Hunter went early.
42. No, that's about right.
It's my first exposure to this. That seems early.
That seems early for a wide receiver, number 2 overall pick in the draft. So do you want to just go with Jaden Daniels right here?
If that's what you want to do, I'm fine with it. I like the rushing upside. I think that's good.
We'll take Jaden Daniels right here. A couple spots after ADP. We have Terry McLaurin. We have CeeDee Lamb. So our week 17 is already starting to get built. We got Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin with CeeDee Lamb. And you can see on my team, the teammates partner with quarterbacks are highlighted in cyan, right? And then you can see the matchup with Washington and cyan as well because it matches up with the quarterback there. So the next thing is, as we come up around here again, we're going to be at pick 53, which means we will be able to take George Pickens if we want.
Oh.
And have the 2 Dallas wide receivers. Now, I don't think we would take Dak because he might be a little too expensive given how much we just invested in Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
But if we have Lamb and Pickens, he might fall if we don't take him because who's going to take him without them, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. The last elite tight end on the board is George Kittle. Metcalf, Ridley are there. I don't really want to go running back here since we already took Achane so high. We could go Harvey or Joe Mixon. These dudes are such dust though. Mixon, that makes me a little concerned.
Yeah. You're not a Kenny Walker guy, are you?
Well, Pickens just came off the board. I don't have an issue with Walker, but I'd much rather take somebody like Chuba Hubbard than Kenneth Walker if you want to go running back. So I think our choice here are DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin, or Chuba Hubbard.
I don't know that I'd want Metcalf.
Hubbard or Godwin?
Hubbard's fine.
Chuba it is. Man, that 20-second clock gets up on you real fast.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, which I love. I only do 20-second draft picks now. I wasn't sure how it was going to work on the stream. I thought it might be too fast, but I'd rather have way too fast than way too slow.
Yeah.
So we took Chuba there. So we've got 2 wide receivers now through 5, which means our next 2 picks are most likely going to be wide receiver to get 4 through 7.
Yeah.
Hubbard plays the Seahawks in week 17, so JSN is going to be a prime target. Jalen Waddle would be a good target, although by ADP, there he goes. He should be gone. Debo, I'm not huge on, but we do have the bet on Washington already.
What about Cooper Kupp?
Later. I wouldn't take Cooper Kupp for $20.
Okay.
I think if I lined up to play receiver for the Seahawks this year, I could have at least half as many catches as Cooper Kupp will.
Here we go.
He was dusty last year, injured, and then like the Rams, he was willing to re-sign with the Rams. He's best friends with the quarterback, and they were like, nah, son, you can go to the division. We don't care.
Yeah.
That's a pretty negative sign.
It is.
Right there. So that has me concerned.
Is Godwin going to fall to us?
That would be pretty incredible. He shouldn't. His ADP is about 58. And where's the Mike Evans guy? Mike Evans guy is right here. There's no way this guy should let Godwin get by him with Mike Evans, but he's a no badger, so he may not even realize it. This guy with 4 straight running backs. Congratulations on finishing 7th in this pod. Okay. He did let Godwin get by. So Godwin is definitely going to be our pick because week 16 he plays Carolina. Week 17 plays Miami.
Yeah.
So we would love for him to fall to us. This also means sort of a tight end yet that Cade Otton is pretty high on our list of priorities later. Man, these dudes are loving
you
these
could
running
take
backs.
Why am I blanking on the Washington tight end?
Zach Ertz.
Yeah, late.
Yeah, but the problem is that, and I have a huge issue with Ertz. The problem is that all the money's at the end of the year. And how confident are you really? We do get Godwin here, by the way. Phenomenal value. That his ADP is 65, so it's not that crazy. But the Mike Evans guy shouldn't have let him get by him. The money's at the end of the year.
Yeah. No, I get it.
That Zach Ertz will be playing or productive by the end of the year.
I'm not at all.
That's my concern with Zach Ertz. Now, since we have Washington going already, it does make him like this is the sort of team where I would take him.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather take
Yeah.
I'd much rather take Elijah Arroyo, Theo Johnson, like some young athletic player Terrence Ferguson, who might just pop up later at the end of the year.
Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor is my least favorite of that group. He might be the best tight end of that group, but for fantasy, because of the Jets, might be the least likely to explode. Like Terrence Ferguson is the most likely to just, I'm Tyler Higbee now.
Yeah.
Right. Mason Taylor, Justin Fields is his quarterback. It just may not work out as well for him, even though I think he'll play the most snaps, and he might be the best all-around tight end out of the group. But remember, we're not trying to draft the best players. We're trying to beat our opponents.
We want production.
We need to beat our opponents. That's the goal. Production is a key part of that, but we have to beat our opponents. That's what we're actually trying to do here. Let's see here. We're still looking at another wide receiver. Jacoby Myers, Khalil Shakir, Stephon Diggs. It's too early for Luther Burden. This has got to be Jacoby Myers.
It's Myers, yeah.
Yeah. There's just no comparison there. And again, I Burden 85th in the rankings, 91 by ADP, so I don't mind taking him early, but that's too early.
Yeah.
Now, if we had DJ Moore, maybe. But even then, I still don't think I take him.
What do you think Chicago is going to do with DJ Moore and Burden? They're almost like they're so similar.
I think they are similar, but I think DJ Moore is a good receiver at all levels of the field. So they could just use him wherever Burden isn't the strongest.
Yeah, I think Moore needs to be out of the slot. Personally, I think he's much more effective there.
Yes, but he can also he can be great at all 3 levels. So like you could have 2 players out of the slot to trips to one side of the formation, or 4 wide and 2 in the slot, or have 2 in the slot, basically nobody out wide. I mean, you could do a number of different ways to get that done, especially if you're Ben Johnson.
They're going to have to figure it out.
To me, I think it's much more Woody Luther Burden and Colston Loveland.
Yeah.
I think they're more likely to overlap than Moore, because I think Moore can do anything.
Yeah. Last year was interesting, though, with them not playing him out of the slot early and how ineffective he did look. That'll be an interesting study about how Chicago goes around getting everybody involved there. They have a lot of weapons now.
They do. And the thing is, too, if everybody's okay with not being the man, it could work out really well.
Yeah.
For them. For fantasy, it could be horrible. But for the Bears, it could work out really well. I was just having a conversation with a coworker today about how George Pickens is better off in Dallas than Pittsburgh. And he was like, why? In Pittsburgh, he could be the number one. And I said, yeah, that's exactly the point. Like in Pittsburgh, he could argue, no, I'm the man, get me the ball. In Dallas, if he argues, I'm the man, people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like CeeDee Lamb is clearly better than you. Shut up.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually a better fit for George Pickens there. Luther Burden or Emeka Egbuka. Keep in mind that we have Godwin already. So if we take Egbuka, it's a strong bet against Mike Evans.
Are we not into TJ Hawkinson at all?
Not for this team. It's either Burden or Egbuka right now.
You choose.
We're going to go Egbuka. We're going to take Emeka Egbuka. And the reason we're going to do that is because not only do we have Godwin, but we have the Carolina and Miami end of the season anyways.
Yeah.
Which means that now if we take Baker, that week 16 and 17 is already done. It's already built in with our running backs. Baker then takes care of that right there because Daniels plays the Giants and the Eagles. Well, the Eagles are all gone now except for Dallas Goedert and Will Shipley. And then the Giants are all garbage except for Malik Neighbors, who's gone. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Darius Slayton is fine.
Yeah. For
this contest, but not for this team. We already have enough good production pieces. Our wide receivers from here now are going to be like high upside swings. Right. Who could be going 4 rounds higher next year?
Yeah.
We got breaking news into the show from Paul. I trust it come from Paul. He says Colts owner Jim Irsay has died.
Wow.
Okay. I have to say that that's a bummer because he's very entertaining and he clearly loved his team. I'm not going to say it's shocking given rumors of his habits and the way he likes to have fun. That, as you age, those things can tend to catch up with you.
Yeah.
So, but it does seem to be a bummer because he really seemed to be engaged and really like owning the Colts and like the NFL there. So
he was 66. Do I have that wrong?
That sounds about right. And like I said, that's way too young. But if what's alleged is true and he's out there, getting after it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. like George Carlin died at 71.
Yeah.
It catches you. We have a very interesting pick I want to make here. You can pick though. There's 2 good options. Trey Harris or Cam Scatterbo.
Ugh. Go Scatterbo.
We're going to go Scatterbo. Now, I mentioned that all the Giants were trash except for Malik Neighbors, and that is probably true.
Yeah, but Scatterbo covers all that stuff if they are trash.
Right. He could still be somewhat productive.
Yeah.
Here. So I don't mind that stuff. Now, Tracy was on the board as well, but we took Scatterbo for end of the season, right? He plays Daniels in week 15, and then he gets Jacoby Myers in week 17.
Yeah.
So we're kind of hoping that Scatterbo overtakes Tracy throughout the year for this specific team.
Yeah.
In general, I expect Tracy to have a better season, but for this team, Scatterbo was a better pick.
Yeah, this is an interesting look at this because there's some picks that we've made that I would have, if I was building just a regular team, I would be thinking no,
Yeah,
but we're not doing that.
Which ones in particular were you thinking that about?
Egbuka for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not even sure. I don't know. I mean, he'll be. I think he'll play in 3 wide receiver sets, but.
Mm-hmm.
My assumption is Evans is their X, Godwin's their slot, Egbuka's their Z. But just how much production is there going to be? How much ball is there? But an Evans injury might put Egbuka into a very premier position.
And Evans doesn't need to get injured. He's also old.
Yeah.
I am not predicting a Mike Evans downfall. In fact, I don't even think Mike Evans will be dust this year. But if he's only 70% of what he has been, and at 32, that wouldn't be a shock.
Yeah,
he won't play all the snaps.
Yeah,
and I think Egbuka is his direct backup, not Godwin.
Really? You think Igbokwe can play outside like that?
Yeah, I think Igbokwe. See, I think Igbokwe didn't play outside of that at Ohio State because they always had Marvin Harrison, Jeremiah Smith, like all these other players. So JSN did it, but I don't think there's any reason. Like, there's something in Igbokwe's profile that says he can't be an outside wide receiver. Chris Olave had the same thing.
Yeah,
So did Terry McLaurin. Like, when you're loaded at wide receiver like that, like those teams were, Jalen Waddle played the slot basically exclusively at Alabama.
Yeah.
But then he gets in the league and he can play everywhere. I think that's the same thing here.
I'm just thinking. Oh, are we on the clock?
We're on the clock. I'm thinking. Charbonnet here.
Sure.
Sorry, Dak, not you. Nothing against Dak, actually. I think Dak's great at that price.
Yeah.
And they have a tough schedule. I think they're going to win 7 games this year, so they'll be behind a lot. They'll be passing a lot. And they could surprise. They could win like 10. So I think Dak would have been fine there, but I don't really like putting all my eggs in one basket in week 17. I'd rather have exposure to 2 games that could really go off. So that's why I sort of decided that there. Our next pick, though, I think our next pick should probably be Dallas Goedert. We don't have a tight end. He's our eagle to go against Daniels. So we get Daniels lined up every single week of the playoffs. We could theoretically get by with just 2 tight ends if we take Goedert here. And all these other names ahead of him, unless you really wanted Kyle Williams.
No.
Oh, boy. My screen just cut out. There it goes. Let me go ahead and get a... Wait, never mind. Hang on. We have another discussion. Or Besh as Besh. Well. Or Ferguson, because we have
So do you think Besh would? I think if you take Ferguson, Besh might fall to the next pick.
Besh is 15 spots higher in ADP. We're right on ADP to take Besh. We'll be right on ADP for Ferguson next.
Okay,
it's Besh. It's Besh if he's here.
Yeah.
And then we'll be happy with either Goedert or Ferguson with the next pick. Okay, we got Besh. This is good, too, because they play the Giants week 17. So now we have outs to Geno and Baker for our second quarterback.
Yeah.
The thing is that we could put Otten in there as well. There isn't a tight end, of course, to add with the Raiders since Bowers is long gone.
Yeah.
But it does allow for that. Let me just double check bye weeks. The Raiders are 8, Commanders are 12, Bucks are 9. So yeah, it doesn't matter which one we want to do when we get there. But I do think that for the next pick, Ferguson and Goedert are our 2 targets. And it's really close which one to go with. But I think Ferguson is the pick because we need CeeDee Lamb to basically be one of the 3 best first-round picks. And that's not happening if Dak gets hurt. If Dak plays the entire season, Ferguson should be fine at this price.
Yeah.
So I think Ferguson first with Goedert as an okay pick if he doesn't fall to us. If they both go, we could continue the Bucs thing with Rachaad White. But I'd love to go receiver here, but they're kind of gone right now. Yeah, receivers are dead in this stretch. We will not be taking a receiver. Kind of makes me wish Chuba was a receiver.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. We can make that work just fine. See, Tucker Kraft is right there as well. And if he falls to us, he'd be a great pick by ADP, but he doesn't really fit our team in any way.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't have match with anybody that we're going against coming up.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I would, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, I would be looking at Kraft and thinking, I really like that, but not for this particular.
Right, not for this specific team that we have going.
Yeah.
But of the 3, I like Kraft the most, but Kraft just went. Kincaid goes before Ferguson or Goddard, I think that's going to be a mistake at year's end. I think Kincaid could be in a lot of trouble. Well, Goddard goes right before us, so Ferguson it is. This also allows us to go either 2 or 3 tight ends, depending on when we take the second one. And you can see here on the side that the players highlighted in orange are correlated to somebody on the team who isn't a quarterback, right? Cyan lines up with the quarterback, so McLaurin's with Daniels, but then CD is in orange because Ferguson, so they're in orange, and then Egbuka and Godwin, and then Myers and Besh. We're picking up in 7 picks at pick 148.
Who are you thinking for backup quarter? I know you said Baker. You said, was it Baker and Geno?
Yeah, the problem is Baker might be gone. I think Baker's off the board.
I think so too.
Which means we definitely want Geno. Yeah, Baker would have picked 87, which is early. But it did not go to the Evans guy. This guy took Baker early without Evans or Godwin.
He then took Bo Nix the next round, though.
Hey, get your guys, right?
I know what you're thinking.
Okay, so for
that dude's dead.
For this team here, Geno ADP is 167. We should be able to push him, and we're going to.
Yeah.
Like this is because we have to make up value on teams in the entire field.
Yeah.
And reaching is not the way to do that. So I think I want to take Tyler Algier here just because we need CD Lamb to be maybe the best first round pick. One of the ways to do that is that something happens to Bijan for a significant stretch of time.
Yeah.
So it's the same thought pattern. We need CD Lamb to rise. Bijan has to not do a lot. Well, Bijan plays 17 games. He's going to do a lot.
Sure.
How does CD catch him? Bijan misses 4 or 5 games. Tyler Algier becomes incredible.
Yep.
So Algier goes there. Now Geno is for sure our next pick. If Geno were to go before then, we go look at the quarterbacks here.
We're correlated to Miami in some way, right?
Yes, but through Achane, not through Waddle or Tyreek.
Yeah.
And there's no backstack with that. See,
Gotcha.
Bryce Young could work even though we have Chuba because we can still get Jalen Coker, Jatavian Sanders. We can still get somebody in there.
Adam Thielen?
Not with this teame. Only we want more higher upside. If instead of if this was Burden and Travis Hunter, then Thielen would be fine. Like, give me some catches in the first 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But with CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers, we don't need somebody to get us catches early. Yeah. We need somebody to show up late and be like, oh, I'm going to be a 4th round pick next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
We'd really, because Bryce Young just went, we'd really like Geno to make it. Now, his ADP is 167. We pick at 164. Where is the Bowers guy? Geno just went. Okay. Geno just went. So now we're going to have to think about what we're going to do at quarterback here. Let me get over to here.
Who does Washington play in week 17? I think you said the
Dallas,
Giants, right?
Dallas.
Oh, Dallas? Okay.
Let me think how we can solve quarterback here. I do not want Tua without any help. Okay, well, we're not solving it here. No. We're going to go tight end 2. We're going to take your boy Brenton Strange.
Cool.
And the reason we're taking Brenton Strange is that he plays Indianapolis in week 17. Do you want to know what absolute sick fuck thing I'm thinking? I'm thinking about Danny Dimes on this team.
Oh, my God. No way.
Nobody's going to take him. We know he's going to be there. Are there any Colts left to draft?
I'm sure Alec Pierce is available.
AD, no, somebody took him.
Really?
That seems like a mistake. I just messed up my screen again. Come back. Thank you. AD Mitchell is still out there. So is DJ Giddens. This could be an AD Mitchell,
What about
DJ
Downs?
Giddens.
Downs gone?
Downs is long gone.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. That could be what's happening here. Losing out on Gino is really going to put us in a tight spot. So we really need to think about what is the best way now to make up ground on the field with our other quarterback position. And it's probably going to be a quarterback that not a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm.
If we want Anthony Richardson instead, we have to take him at this next pick. Who is going to be starting week 17 for them? Dimes or Richardson? You tell me right now.
I have no idea. Take the most high upside play you can make. I mean, is there a world in which you would take both of them?
No.
Okay.
No, no bet hedging here. Right? It's a $5 entry with 100,000 of first. Like we have to beat so many people. Like we'd rather just be wrong.
Okay. Well, I think I think we just were wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
If Richardson emerges, that might be. He could be. I mean, from a production standpoint, he could be a ridiculous player.
I also think he's a better fit with AD Mitchell. Now, here's the thing about doing these drafts, right? You have to keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
At what point did we talk about the Colts at any point before this?
None
but
whatsoever. You're right. He is a better fit for AD Mitchell. He is because of the vertical.
So now I'm like, but now DJ Giddens, AD Mitchell, take Brenton Strange out of nowhere to set up the Colts, right? You have to just keep thinking as the board is changing about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Even though that is not ideal.
Where are we at with tight end?
Tight end is done because we need wide receivers.
We took 2. Got it.
Yeah, tight end's done because we're going to need wide receiver help because we're going to take Giddens to go with the Colts, which is going to put us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs. We have 6 wide receivers. So we're going to hopefully go Giddens, AD Mitchell, wide receiver.
Okay.
Would be how we'd love to put this together here. And our wide receiver is going to be somebody that is either going to be a 0 or a merge kind of out of nowhere, but not like crazily out of nowhere.
Yeah.
To be way better. And I'm thinking for this team, this could be an Isaac Tesla team.
Okay.
Somebody like that. Like, who, if it goes right, has the profile to just do something insane?
Jalen Noel.
He's got to be gone.
Okay.
Because he's the one of the Texans. He's gone.
Yeah. He's the slot receiver.
Yeah. Now, Jalen Royals on Kansas City is another issue. Paul asked if we're doing 3 quarterback here. We are not doing 3 quarterback here. I don't think I will ever have a 3 quarterback team with Jaden Daniels. He just costs too much. So this is going to be Giddens. Sorry, my screen is driving me crazy. Okay, did take Giddens. Then we got AD Mitchell, and then we're just picking from wide receivers that we think could be last round picks this year, who either by the end of the summer could be picked in like the 14th to 12th round, or next year could be like 8th round picks. Right? We want to find like rookie year Jacoby Myers. It's kind of Horton. Horton is a good bet too because we already have a Seahawk.
Yep.
So he'd be a good bet for that. The thing is, we are really sweating AD Mitchell making it to us. Should it be a problem? We're going to take him 10 spots ahead ADP.
Yeah.
But there are 3 red badges right before us, one with goat horns. So they could be using good ranks. And no, AD Mitchell his ADP is too low.
Define red badge.
Red badge is an experience measurement on Underdog. It means that you've done at least 500 drafts within a certain time frame. And goat horns you get if you win one of the daily drafts.
500 drafts, really?
Within like a rolling time frame. Yeah, but I've had my red badge for years.
That seems like a subtle flex there, Dave.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you could have a red badge and be terrible. It's just about putting money
That's
in.
true. That's true.
I do got the goat horns though, so I actually got my goat horns. I won the 2 years ago, Christmas Eve, the crazy Joe Flacco Amari Cooper game. Amari Cooper went like 11 for 265 and 2.
Yeah.
I was like, Cooper's on the road. Nobody wants him, but he's indoors and Houston can't play defense. So I did, 25 drafts. And I took Flacco to Cooper on half of them, just had the right combination, and there it was. So, okay, we got AD Mitchell. So now we are just picking our favorite insane upside wide receiver. So T-Slaw goes on the list. Dontavian Wicks, what do you think? No. Okay.
Yeah, I think that the ship has sailed there.
Ty Felton.
God, I just think there's too much in his way, but we'd be projecting him not to have much in his way.
Addison tears his ACL week 6. What do you think of Felton week 17?
He'd be fine. I don't think he'd be great, though.
Troy Franklin.
He's interesting.
Franklin is interesting. Good. Chimera DK.
No.
Okay. Jalen Royals.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody really knows what's happening with Rashee Rice. To me, he's interesting.
It seems like Rice is healthy.
I know, but
and he's not going to get suspended this season. Seems to be like a pretty strong prevailing opinion, which he's going 23rd now.
Yeah.
The screen just cut out again. Please come back. Thank you. What about Jalen Lane for Washington out of Virginia Tech?
Oh, man.
Round the clock next.
I think Franklin is where I would go, or I would probably want Franklin even ahead of Tesla, because I just think there's so much that would have to go right for
Tesla. Just came off the board right before us, so
okay,
it will be Troy Franklin here with the final pick. Okay, so this team did come together and get saved here at the very last second. Now, when the draft ends, the screen might shut down on me. I have to go back in and find it, but it won't be that hard. So you can see we're here, PSX 120. We're right here out of the 5 hole. So we open with CeeDee Lamb, go Achane, McLaurin, Daniels, Chuba. Given where we ended up with wide receiver, Metcalf, that's coming the other way, right? Metcalf, Waddle, Debo, Addison, I think I'd rather have than Chuba here. But there was no way to know that at the time, and a lot of that's connected to losing Geno and Baker.
Yeah.
So that's really just some hindsight analysis there. Then we go Godwin, Myers, Egbuka. So we do get 5 wide receivers through 8. So just those 5 wide receivers there. What do you think about that as a wide receiver room compared to, say, the 6 hole next to us? They go T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, Jawan Jennings, Josh Downs.
I just think it depends on who's playing in week 17 and what it looks like. I think they're stronger over the first little bit than we are. But how much? I don't know. A little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I think the teams, I actually think through 8 rounds, us and the 6 seed are a very interesting comparison. So their first 3 picks are Jahmyr Gibbs, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill. We take Lamb, Achane, McLaurin.
Yeah.
If Tyreek is Tyreek, that is going to be a clear win for them. But
I don't know I think the Achane factors in there. If Tyreek is Tyreek, then that means Achane's going off too.
Yeah, but if Tyreek falls off, who benefits? Waddle and Achane.
Yeah.
Right. So we're sort of betting against each other there. Then we have the NFC East expensive stack. We take Daniels to McLaurin. They take Hurts to Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Right. And then Now, to me, this is where I think we end up taking a major advantage. Chuba versus DeAndre Swift.
Yes, that's us.
Godwin versus Jennings.
Us.
Myers versus Downs.
Significantly in our favor.
Egbuka versus Downs.
I would think that would be in the favor of Downs, but I don't know that.
CD Lamb versus T. Higgins.
Lamb.
Right. So I think that both us and the Six will have a really strong structure, and both these teams through 8 rounds are really good, really strong, can really compete. By comparison, we're now going to look at the 10 hole. H. Null opens with Malik Neighbors and Drake London. I would have taken Brock Bowers there, especially since the Giants play the Raiders in week 17. I think I would have gone Neighbors Bowers. Oh, that's going to be very popular because of that.
Yeah.
I still think I would have done that here. So he goes Neighbors London, then Kyron, Hampton, Harvey, Walker.
Yeah, it's like you took 2 rookie running backs so early.
If you were, imagine it's just a season-long fantasy league, redraft league. Somebody offers you Kyron, Hampton, Harvey, and Walker for Achane and Chuba. Do you make that trade?
Probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can argue that we actually have stronger running backs through 8 rounds, even though we have half as many.
Yeah.
Then at wide receiver, they have Neighbors, London, and Shakir. Okay, we have Lamb, McLaurin, Godwin, Myers, and Buka.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they go back to back with Mayfield and Nix.
Right, and we have Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So even though I don't have an issue with any individual pick that Team 10 has made here, besides maybe taking Bowers instead of London, I think that there's no question that our team is a lot stronger, even though each individual pick they made seems fine.
Yeah.
And that's really the point that I want to try to get across to people who are going to see this, is that your thoughts on the players individually only matter on the margins because we are wrong so often.
Yeah.
So, it's much more important about how you structure the teams, how you put the teams together, and the story your team tells. And as far as stories goes, our team tells a coherent, if not a little insane story.
Yeah.
But our story is really that Jaden Daniels is basically quarterback 1 or 2 at the end of the year. He needs to pass Lamar or Allen for us.
Yeah.
And carry us through most of the season.
Yeah.
Right. And then in the playoff weeks, we have Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin stacked up with Scattaboo and then CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson in week 17. We also have Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
Richardson is a tough bet. I even wanted to go. I originally was like, we're going to go Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're right that Richards is the better pick for this team because Daniels is so strong. If our first quarterback was Baker, this is a Daniel Jones team with a third quarterback.
Yeah.
And then we don't have Michael Pittman. We don't have Josh Downs. We don't have Tyler Warren. But we do have A.D. Mitchell. And if Anthony Richardson is in the game and he's going to outscore Jaden Daniels, he's going to do it by running and throwing 80-yard bombs. And ain't going to Downs and Pittman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Warren.
Yep.
If Anthony Richardson is outscoring Jaden Daniels, he's either rushing and thus bringing down those more expensive receiver targets, or he's throwing the ball over them their mountains, most likely to A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah.
So if we're going to have Anthony Richardson for basically winning us a playoff week, we don't really want him with the more expensive players.
No.
But Jones we would. So you were right to have us pivot to Richardson there. Running back room, Achane, Hubbard, Scattaboo, Charbonnet, Algier, Giddens. This is my exact favorite type of running back room to have. Achane, explosive, could easily be RB1 on the year if the Dolphins are the least bit competitive.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard, they just extended him. Jonathan Brooks isn't going to play. Offense should be a lot better again this year.
Yeah.
Really solid pick there. Scattaboo could be horrible. could be fine. Like, he could be in a number of places, but I do think that it's most likely that Cam Scadaboo's best year is this year. I don't see, like, he's either going to be good enough to move past Tyrone Tracy by the end of the year and take over, in which case this is probably his best year going forward, or he's not and he's dusted, and this is his best year because he'll be a Arlington Renegade next year.
Well, I wonder, he could absorb all that passing game work because he's really, really good out of the backfield. And I know that you're going to laugh at me, but he's really elusive. He's really hard to tackle.
He's hard to tackle.
He is. I mean, he I don't know how many missed tackles he forced last year, but it was a ton. And I know there's a level of competition stuff there and, all that stuff, but
do you want a crazy comp for Cam Scadaboo I came up with?
Yeah.
Slow Tyrone Wheatley.
Okay.
Elusive in college.
Yeah.
Hard to tackle always.
Yeah.
But, we were talking about this to Alex offline. Scadaboo is a one-trick pony. His break tackle ability is a 99.
Yeah. But that's all he can do. That's a significant deal. The ability to be elusive enough to be difficult to get to the ground is a thing for running backs.
Yes,
the contact balance and all that stuff. It's a big deal.
But coming into the NFL, like, it was clear Bijan's elusiveness and contact balance was going to translate. It's clear that Ashton Jintes is going to translate. That's why they go so high. It was not clear that Blake Corums would translate, so he goes to the third round and then looked.
Yeah,
Scadaboo is kind of in that same situation.
He's kind of to me, he's a little bit more elusive Javonte Williams kind of player. Coming out of North Carolina, he was, he wanted to run through you, over you. He wasn't overly fast. That's why the injury was so brutal for him, because he lost a little bit of something that he couldn't afford to lose. That's the thing with Scadaboo, is he can't afford to get any less athletic. He just can't.
Right.
He can't. So, because then
I don't know if he could.
But then you lose the ability to be, if he loses a little bit of that elusiveness, whatever you want to call it, he's dust. He is. But coming into the NFL, he does it at such a ridiculous level. We'll see. We'll see, and we'll know right away what the Giants decide to do. And my assumption is, with Dart probably starting the back half of those games, that they're going to throw lots of screens. They're going to try to set up their running backs, just easy stuff. How much does Scadaboo get out of that? I don't know. We'll see.
So here's my concern for this team. My concern for this team is week 15 and advancing out of that week. The Commanders host the Giants. I can see that being an absolute boat race, and we don't get Daniels pushed. The Colts are at the Seahawks. One, Richardson might not be playing.
Might not be, yeah.
And if he is, at Seattle doesn't strike me as the best scenario for him.
Unless he is running like crazy.
Yes. But I think week 15 could be the hardest part for this team. Now, the good news is that CeeDee Lamb is home versus Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that
lots of points.
Yeah, that would help. So also this running back room, we take my favorite sort of running back picks to take. There's fewer now than there will be at the end of the summer because we don't know the depth charts. But in my mind, we got 4 of them. Scadaboo, Charbonnet, Algier, and Giddens. These are the running back 2s in their room.
Yeah.
If something happens to the person in front of them, they're coming in full starter, projected for full workloads.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And we know Charbonnet and Algier can play.
Oh, yeah.
They've already shown it. Like, if something happens to Kenneth Walker and or Bijan Robinson, this running back room might be the best in this pod, without question.
Yeah.
I think DJ Giddens can play.
Yeah.
I think he's a great athlete. I think he went way too late in the draft. And I think that if he were to just get an opportunity to be on the field a lot, he would be able to play very well.
Yeah. I mean, this was the draft for that kind of running back. There was a ton of those guys.
Yep. But like a lot of them, we don't know quite yet where they are on the depth chart, or they were drafted too late to really matter.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get clarity going forward. Like for example, I really like Jarquez Hunter. I think Jarquez Hunter is fantastic. But if we start getting word out of camp that he's definitely number 3,
yeah,
he's undraftable then if he's stuck behind Kyron and Corum, even though I like him as a prospect. So I'm less likely to take him now without that information. I could just take so much of him later once I get it. Even though his price will be higher, I can still just take him later.
Yeah.
Not this specific tournament. This tournament will be closed by then, but generally speaking.
I know.
Wide receivers, we didn't get the level of upside I typically like in a wide receiver room, but we got tons of great correlation and really good top-end talent. CeeDee Lamb is obviously awesome. He's obviously phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we get him week 17 against our quarterback. So I will take that. Terry McLaurin, I think still clearly the best wide receiver on that team. I don't think Debo is going to catch him.
No.
Coordinated with our quarterback. Week 15, week 17 matchups. Godwin and Egbuka. Godwin's going to get his. Egbuka, I think, is good enough to get on the field. If he had gone to a team that needed a wide receiver,
yes,
we'd be super enthused.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, first, there's a chance that Egbuka is one of the 2 best wide receivers on the team. Because Godwin and Evans are both older. Like, Egbuka might, by week 8, might just be better than Chris Godwin.
He could be.
I don't think it's likely.
I don't think it is either, but Tampa Bay does a pretty good job of drafting. They drafted him for a reason.
Yes.
You know, we all kind of shook our head when it happened, but it's like, okay.
Well, I only shook my head for this year because I think the Bucs could win this division again pretty easily.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to 2027, Evans is gone. Godwin's 31.
Yeah.
They're going to be really happy they've got Egbuka then. Jacoby Myers is Jacoby Myers. He's going to do his Jacoby Myers thing.
Yep.
90 catches, somewhere around 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jack Besh could be a 0. He's got a really risky profile, but he's in a great situation. He's got a really high upside profile as well.
Yeah.
And he's going to get opportunity.
He is.
He could end up just buried, though. Like, he could have opportunity to be on the field, but with
but that doesn't
Myers
mean
and Genty.
Yeah, but behind Janty and Bowers and Myers, what's on the bone for him?
Yes, but that's like, well, behind Laporta, Amon-Ra, Jameson, and Gibbs, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you do sort of run out of opportunity.
Yeah,
but I do think that Besh has a chance to really solidify himself as the number 4 option on that team, a team that's going to have to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
A.D. Mitchell, second-year breakout wide receiver, he's as good a bet as any of them who didn't do much last year.
Yeah.
And then Troy Franklin is in the exact same category.
Yeah, and he had moments last year where it looked like, this might work.
Yeah, I just really worry about Franklin and Mims with them trading up for Pat Bryant.
Yeah.
Like, it sort of tells me that they're out on Mims and Franklin as being like their potential 1 and 2 or 2 next to, like, they're looking for somebody else next to Sutton. Not one of them.
Maybe it means they're more out on Mims than I think it's a good point. Could you really be out on Franklin that early? I mean, this is year 2.
Yes, you could. He's a 4th-round pick. He was not a great prospect coming out. They could just like, you know what? We're not re-signing this guy.
He could be a pain in the ass. He could be, there could be all kinds of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
That we don't know about, and thus them picking, wide receiver. But I think there were moments with him last year where it looked okay.
And then the tight end position, we go Jake Ferguson and Brenton Strange. Again, 2 correlated picks. Jake Ferguson is correlated to our CeeDee Lamb bet. We need CeeDee Lamb to be a top 3 overall player, which means we need Dak to stay healthy, which means Jake Ferguson should be more than fine. Brenton Strange is finally going to get full opportunity. Now, of course, I don't think he's ever going to get better because he went to Penn State. But doesn't mean it's got to be bad. I just think they ever get better, except for Chris Godwin. But he correlates right up against Anthony Richardson week 17, and both tight ends go against our quarterbacks in week 17.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, that's exactly what I like with this tight end room. I think our tight end room is overall very weak, and it's unlikely. Like, we're not going to outscore the Bowers team at tight end or the McBride team.
No.
But that's not where we're not trying to get out of our pod at tight end with this team.
Yeah.
We're trying to win the final.
Yeah.
When Bowers and McBride have a down game.
Yeah.
Because
and
it goes
Ferguson
to Myers
goes 6 and 100 and 2 touchdowns, and we're cooking.
Well, really, we just see Jake Ferguson in week 17. Actually, in Brent Strange in week 17 catches four passes for 70 yards and a touchdown. But the Raiders run through Besh and Myers instead of Bowers, and Bowers just doesn't do very much.
Yeah.
That's where you can make it up at.
Yeah.
Right. It's a McBride that we don't have any protection against.
Yeah.
Really. But you can't cover all your bases. You only get 18 players. So you got to be exposed. Got to be exposed somewhere. So all in all, I think this is a very good team. I think this team is built to advance to the playoffs and to win the final, which I will take, because I think it's very hard to build a team that can advance and like be designed to win all 3 playoff weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to get lucky
have to
somewhere.
get some luck.
So if I can plan for any two, let me plan for the first round and the last round.
Sure.
And see what happens in the middle.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yep. Any other thoughts on anybody on this team or anything else about the draft or anything at all?
No. Not really, no.
Scott's like, no, I don't have any thoughts on anything.
None worth sharing right now.
No. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in here for the first draft of the year. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Hopefully by then we do have some more NFL news stuff to talk about. If not, we'll pull up another one here, see what might have changed, what might be different. Maybe we'll give ourselves some constraints, like we can't take a quarterback before round 10, something like that. See if see if we can put it together some way like that. But yeah. R.I.P. to Jim Irsay. He seemed like it was a really fun time. I don't know what they're going to do with this party bus now, but I'm sure they'll come up with something. And any final words?
No, we're good.
All right. Thank you, everybody who was watching. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Paul, real appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, all that. Share the video with your friends. Follow us on TikTok. Share the TikToks with everybody. And we will see everybody in a couple weeks. Peace.